Imagine there was a mouse.
This is in the cold weather position.
Yeah.
So this is going here, so it's picking up warm air coming off the muffler for running in the wintertime, like snow blowing snow and stuff.
Wall is a lot of water.
Yeah, I don't know how water would be getting in there. Huh, that's not good. All right, so now we'll get that off of there. You can actually put that right back on. We only took that off so we could get this off. There we go. Mouse nest, big time. Yeah.
Show the camera.
It's gross. So all that mouse poop and pee and everything has just been leaking down into that starter motor. So no wonder why it's not working.
This wood nut.
You should go grab that shop vac.
It's down in the basement.
Oh, well, you know what? That's too far and you're too lazy. So let's just stop here. What we need to do is we need to take off this nut and that nut. We can take the whole starter out now, and that'll give us access to the whole backside to get clean out the rest of that crap.
That's a half.
Yeah, you're not going to get on that with a socket though. You're going to need a wrench. Hey, that one's not rotted, rusted solid. Ah, you stinker. There we go. Ah, look at that. Ugh. Got the crud on that.
Yeah, there's
That. All right, well, I'll tell you right now, Mark, what we probably should do, not now, but before we put this back in, we should probably take this flywheel cover completely off, because I can see the bottom of this is all filled with crud
Daddy,
from the mice.
Why don't you just take the motor out?
after we get this started and working,
Because it's heavy.
we barely could get it to this position.
Yeah.
Daddy,
That's what the loader's for.
Yeah, well.
we didn't want to burn gas and all that junk.
No, the loader doesn't burn any gas.
Diesel.
Loader's great on gas.
Diesel. Daddy, after we get this all finished, all of it started and all that, we're taking this off, right?
The mower?
Yeah.
All right, so I just disconnected the fuel line. I was about to say it was the last thing keeping us from disconnecting this, but then I forgot about the PTO. There we go. That is the control for the electric clutch for the PTO. So that was the last. That should have been the last thing keeping us from pulling this all the way out.
No, this.
What?
Throttle.
Throttle cable. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the throttle cable. Bummer. Alright, so we're going to see if we can free up this this starter. So I want to be able to put the wrench on here. Actually, I'm going to have to get the other size wrench. But for starters, I'm going to try and clean up this rust on here. There's what's left of a spring in here. That's going to be junk. Even if we can save this. This is looking pretty bad. So, here, Mark, why don't you wear these safety glasses? Just in case a piece of wire comes out of this. Well, there's no point in bothering cleaning this up all really nice, because if we can't get this off, or if it's junk, then there's no point in cleaning it.
Just need to buy a new one.
So I gotta go get a wrench this size. This is probably made in China, because this is a replacement starter. So that's probably a metric
Oh, so this
size.
doesn't turn. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that we already determined. What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, let's see. Let's try 14 millimeter. 14 it is. 14's a common size, 10's a common size. I knew it was too big to be a 10, so yeah, if it's not too frozen, we might even be able to just hold it like this and turn it. Oh, look at that, the nuts actually turning. Now, that might actually be tightening, because I don't remember what direction this rotates.
Try the other way.
So normally this would be loosening, but this might be a reverse thread by design to help keep it from...
Careful your hand.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. I got it. See, this is... Yeah, see how this is loosening now? So I think this is reversed. No, maybe not. Let's see. What happened there? All right, I can see just that little bit exposed, so let's try and loosen it again and see what happens. Go the other direction again to see what happens. Oh, ow. Let's see if it came off. And yeah, see, it's coming off.
Yeah.
See how now it's flush? So that is normal. All right, so I can't hold this very good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this pipe wrench, which might be a little small for this job, but it might just work. There we go.
It's the smallest pipe wrench I ever saw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see that freed up. That's good. Tell you what, that's really good that freed up.
Now I just need a new spring.
That spring's junk, yeah, for sure.
Do you think you have one?
Huh?
Do you think you have one?
A spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably find one. That's good that's not seized.
Yeah.
So that means it's seized right here where it goes into the motor, and I can see it's all corroded there. Yeah, the spring just broke, fell apart, it's gone.
Did it disintegrate?
Yeah, it disintegrated.
I
I have you on video now saying the word incinerate, a made up word. What are you, George Bush Jr.?
Yeah. Let me hold that.
No, it's all right. Okay.
Now do it.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll hold this. You do that. Don't jerk it. Just nice and smooth. There you go. Oh.
Matrix
That would have hurt.
moves.
Ow. There we go. I used the force of the screw to push this off. So you can see there's a spring here. What's left of it. That sits in this cup. So far so good. So now
Now we have to take this thing off, right?
well, the problem is to take that off, you've got to unscrew these long bolts, which have those little heads on them.
Probably rusted.
They're probably badly rusted, and I bet you they're going to just snap.
So what?
The better thing to do would be, if we clean this up really good,
Yeah.
then we could put some penetrating lubricant, the stuff in the can that actually seeps in, down in here. We can let this sit overnight, and the stuff will go down in there, and it might break it free. Because I think all of the rusting and seizing is on this end. I don't think this doesn't look that bad. So, all right. So put your glasses back on. We'll try and clean this up. While we're at it, we'll try and clean the threads on those bolts in case we do have to try and take them out. All right. We'll try and undo one of these bolts very gingerly. Let's see if these are 10s. No, they're much smaller. Yeah, I don't even have the size that is. Let's see. Is that a 9?
It's the smallest one you have in there.
Yeah, which I think is a 9. Oh yeah, of course. It would have to be something stupid like that. So it's not a 9. and it's not a 10. So
it's a.
you're going to tell me that they put metric on here and they put non-metric over here? What kind of stupid thing is that?
What's this?
That's another 10, I think. All right, I'm going to go get a...
I'm gonna try.
Go ahead, you just see if magically if that changes size.
I am.
So, I know from experience, I kind of got a pretty decent feel for how much pressure I can put on this before it's going to snap. So what I'm doing is, this bolt goes all the way through, right? This is the end of it. So I'm going to try and turn this, and if I don't see this moving at all, and I feel this starting to give, I'm going to stop because I know I'm going to snap it.
Snapped it.
Nope, it doesn't snap that quick. Nope, see, it's going. See it?
Yeah. How much force are you putting on it?
Now I'm putting very little on
Can I
it,
do
so
it?
that was luck.
Can I do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just no. All those times we didn't have luck, now this time we got luck.
Oh, we still got another one. Sometimes you got to take out 8 bolts, and 7 come out fine, and the 8th one snaps. Had that happen.
Could we, like, help this not, like, de-rust this if we can?
De-rust?
I don't know how to clean it up.
Yeah, well, we did. We cleaned it up with the wire wheel a little bit. That's helping. If we just
What
left
about
all,
here?
if we had left these threads all dirty, then as this was trying to back out, this would be binding, and it would make things worse. By doing it this way, you see all the rust coming out? See how
Yeah.
rusty that bolt is? That would indicate that water or whatever liquid, mouse pee,
Mouse pee and
has
poop.
gotten in there.
Perfect. Can I do it?
Yeah, go ahead. Again, smooth motion. Don't jerk, 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 because every time you jerk it, it's hard for me to hold it. It's so strong.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take this, see if we can get this end cap off, and there's probably brushes in there because of the type of motor this is. All right, so this is moving, that's good. Oh, there we go. All right, so if you look down, you can actually see the brushes in there. So that's the tricky part about putting these back together. See, these brushes are spring loaded.
Yeah.
So what happens is these sitting here are the spring tension,
Those
and they want to fall out of position when we're trying to put this back on. But I'll show you a trick on how to fix that. We should be able to knock this gently,
Okay.
and this whole cap right here and this whole front thing should come off.
Could we do with this? No.
Wow.
This is a better surface.
Actually, I got a better tool for that. Brass or a plastic hammer. This plastic tip right here, these tips are plastic or composite material, is synthetic. I could hit this, I don't have to worry about damaging this shaft.
I don't even.
That came out real easy. Arrgh!
It's what we thought right there.
Yeah, right where we thought it would be. Now I can clean that up a little bit better because the bolts that were sticking out aren't in the way. Get your safety glasses on? No.
Doesn't like vinegar get rust off? Takes rust off.
There's all different kinds of concoctions for removing rust. All right, that's seized up solid. So now I don't think we can do anything more on this tonight other than I'll put this in the vise so it's standing up like that, and I'll spray that lubricant on here, and then we'll try and turn it after a while, like maybe tomorrow. If that doesn't work, then what we can do is we can put some heat to it, but we don't want to put too much heat to it because we don't want to damage the windings behind here.
And while you have that thing out, can we fix the seat?
Fix, well,
The
I have
bottom
what
of the
there?
seat. Remember we had that thing, it's rusty?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we get this engine running before we worry about the seat?
Should we take the motor off?
You got mosquitoes flying around you. I probably have them around me. Let's get the heck out of here.
Is it gonna rain tomorrow?
I am not the weatherman. All right, it's been a day. First I put liquid wrench on there, but then I found my PB blaster and I put PB blaster on there, so it's been soaking overnight. Let's see if had a chance to do any of its magic. Nope. Gonna need some heat. All right, so Mark and I are down here in the basement. It's been several days since since I put this in the vise like this. I'm just holding it lightly, and I put penetrating oil, PB Blaster, on the top there, and hoping that it would wick its way down inside there and break this free. And this still is seized up tight, so I want to try and put a little bit more force on it. But before I can do that, I've got to be able to clamp this tight in the vise, and I don't want to damage the shaft with the vise jaws, so I'm just going to take these scraps of copper that I have laying around here that are annealed. This is actually 1/2-inch copper tubing that was annealed and flattened out, and the annealing takes the hardness out of the copper. It makes it nice and soft, and it makes these scraps of copper pipe handy for this type of work. So now I'm going to grab something to grab this outer housing and try and give it a twist. Wow, that is really seized up. That is not good. I don't know if we're going to be able to save that at all.
Really?
Really? You think I'm kidding you?
Yeah.
Well, let's reposition it, because I'm not getting a very good. I can feel it trying to twist, because basically this shaft diameter is so small. I'm not getting a lot of surface area contact with the jaws of the vise through the copper. So let's open this up. Let's use the pipe jaws in here to try and hold on to this. Still get the wrench on it. Alright, so yesterday the camera ended up shutting off. The battery died, so didn't quite catch how I ended up proceeding with this, but what ended up happening was I was able to get this to start turning a little bit, but it was still very tight. So then I heated it up with a propane torch and got it pretty hot, cooked that penetrating fluid in there, and was able to start to turn it enough and work it off, and then it came right off. So now that it's cooled down, if I try and put it back on again, it's still way too tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this out, clean this bore out, clean this up some, and hopefully we'll be able to save this starter. In the meantime, I'm going to have Mark work on taking the shroud off of the flywheel to make sure we can get all of the garbage that the mice had drug in there out of that flywheel area.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once you got it loose enough, you can use this faster. Easier. What you do is, while you got that in your hand, loosen the other one.
Are these the only two or no?
There's the only two on the bottom, and then there's two on the top, and then it should come off right there. I remember it's all coming back to me now. I had to take this intake manifold off to get that cover off.
Oh, great.
So that's going to be a little bit more of a project. All right, grab my tools. All right. So I took some emery paper, emery cloth they call this. It's abrasive cloth for cleaning, polishing. It's not as abrasive as sandpaper. It's not as aggressive. See how that's nice and shiny now?
Mm-hmm.
So now,
Perfect.
I wouldn't say perfect. It's still very stiff. That should be a lot smoother than that. So now we're just going to clean and try and clean this bore on here.
How?
Usually what I like to do is if I have a wooden dowel, I cut a slit in the dowel and I put a piece of this paper in the slit, and then I spin it with a drill inside there, and it will actually flap around and clean that. But let's see, I might have something better. Alright, so Mark and I, last time we were working on this, we quit because the mosquitoes were eating us alive. And anyways, we had come to the I had come to the realization, I had remembered that previously when I wanted to take this cover off, that the only way to get the cover off, because the voltage regulator is kind of stuffed in under here, and is to get this manifold, this intake manifold off. So it's actually not too hard to take off. So for starters, we're going to take the air filter off. So if you want, Mark, go ahead and do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find a container we can put all these parts in, okay?
Yep. Is that filter clean?
Yeah, that could probably, if we get everything else running good, we can replace it. It's stuck on there. It is see that water?
Yeah.
That's just condensation. But you see what it does? Look down in there.
Yeah.
That's all corrosion. That's not good.
Sure.
All right, so we're gonna have to take these 4 screws out. That one's good. Notice these shiny ones are breaking free. This one is the one that I'm worried about. Grab me the other screwdriver. It's got a little bit of a thicker blade. Nope. All right. So you see how the outsides of these are flat? So it's almost like a nut. And I know from experience that's 1/4 inch. So I'm going to get a 1/4 inch nut driver. It'll act like a socket. It'll grab that better.
Okay. I'll take the rest out.
Yeah, take those 3 out. Just be real careful. Don't drop them down the hole.
And I'll put them in there.
Yeah, put them in the pocket.
No, if he can, I can't do it.
Alright, so this is a 1/4 inch nut driver. A little luck.
Look.
Here we go. See, we were going to have to take this all apart anyways, because looking at all that crud that's down in the carburetor, you don't want that getting sucked in the engine when we're cranking it.
Yeah.
This little hose right here, I'm just going to pop this out. And there we go. Let's see, we'll take the gasket off.
That looks fairly clean. The outside.
Huh?
That looks fairly clean from the outside.
Seen worse. But there's stuff down there that doesn't look too good. So there's just big chunks of corrosive material that are down in the throat of the carburetor. So Mark was just asking me, so how are we going to get that stuff out? Well, yeah, normally it was like, well, we could use a vacuum to suck it out or whatever, but since we're going to take this off, we can just shake it out. Because we're going to take the carburetor off of this, because we're probably going to have to take the carburetor apart and look at the inside of that and see if that's all corroded. Well, as long as we're here, let's take this out, okay? All you have to do is loosen that. You don't have to take it all the way out. Here. All right, so again, I'm going to leave that on there so it doesn't get lost. So I'm just undoing this. Now I can push this to the side. I can unhook this, link this from the linkage. All right, battery died on the camera. We were just about to tackle what we're going to do next. So this linkage right here, this arm right here goes to a mechanism inside here called the governor. And the governor helps maintain engine speed. So like when you're cutting grass, if the grass is heavy and you start to go into heavier cuts, and it tries to slow the engine down, this will automatically give it a little more gas so that the engine can try and keep up with the RPMs. It also, you know, when you're driving along, it doesn't just, the RPMs will just keep going higher and higher and higher. This will make sure that as you gain momentum and the engine doesn't have to work as hard to move it, this will back the gas off but keep the RPMs the same. So that's why they call it a governor, because a governor manages things. At least that's what they're supposed to do in a state, right? Govern. Govern means manage.
Yeah.
So this is managing the RPMs on the engine. So you have those on things like tractors and that. So we got a little bar right here with several holes in it. So you'll notice I could put this spring in more than one hole. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
So which hole is it in from the top? Second hole, right?
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure we know that that's in the second hole, because we're going to put this back on. Same place. If you look closely, you can actually see a bunch of little scratch marks right next to that hole.
Yeah.
And actually, I think I put those there to help remind me which hole this was in.
Why did you put what's the difference between putting in the first one or like the last one?
Well, putting it in a different hole changes the tension on this spring. The way the governor works is the governor is fighting against this spring tension. There's a mechanism in here that's moving this lever over, fighting against the spring tension. It's not a really good explanation of how it works, but the amount of effect that the governor has on the throttle is going to be changed by how much tension this spring has. Mm-hmm. How much power this spring has. So that's why it's adjustable. But this position right here was a good position. So I'm on the second hole in there.
Yeah, and second hole in there.
And the second hole in there. So 2 and 2. All right. So then this linkage here has to come off. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the way this linkage works is there's this plastic clip right here, right?
Yeah.
And you see this rod has to be pulled out,
yeah.
But it doesn't come up because this plastic piece is in the way. So what we do is we push this clip without breaking it. See? I popped it off.
Yeah.
Now that I popped it off, watch. Now I can lift this right out, no problem. And now we're going to do this one. Actually, we don't even have to do that one. We can leave that.
Yeah.
All we have left now going to the carburetor is the fuel line on this side. Okay?
Yeah.
And the choke linkage on this side. But the choke linkage, to get that off, it's actually easier if we can get to this. Oh, actually, we can get to the screw. There's a screw here that's at the clamp just like this one, but it's on this side. So we're going to get this out. So if we
What about this thing?
loosen that, well, that's going to come in a minute. Got the cable off clamp. I'm just going to put this screw back in so it doesn't fall out, so I don't lose it. So now if I pull this way, I just undid this choke cable. See?
Yeah.
So now that's out of the way. Let's take the fuel line off.
How?
Well, the fuel line comes off of the fuel pump right here. See it?
Yeah.
Goes underneath, wraps around, and comes up right over here.
Yeah.
So we got to take that clamp off. Let's get you started on taking these bolts out.
Okay.
So find a socket that fits these.
What size do you think it is?
You know what? Actually, let's do these first. Try
Big one?
try a 7/16.
Big or short?
Well, you can put the extension on it.
Yeah.
Is that 7/16?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, sorry, 3/8.
That's ready.
Yeah. So you're gonna go the other way. Loosen that one.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Loosen this one.
Nope. So we get that all out of the way, right?
And what is that?
This is the ignition coil. This is what makes this high voltage for the sparks, for the spark plug. So we get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now I wanted that out of the way because I couldn't get to this bolt.
What size do you think?
Try 1/2 inch. It's either 1/2 inch or 9/16. All right, I'm gonna go grab those pliers. While I'm grabbing those pliers, I want you to take this bolt all the way out, this bolt all the way out, this bolt all the way out, and this bolt all the way out, okay?
If one of them are super rusted. Well, that was surprising.
He finished taking these 4 bolts out, and I just undid the clamp on this hose. I was pretty rude to this hose, taking it off because I don't care, because it's all dry rotted and cracked, so I'm not going to reuse it anyways. This whole assembly should come out, and it does. And a quick look down into the intakes. They look pretty clean, pretty clear.
That one's pretty clear.
They don't look too badly rusted, which is good, so I don't think we're going to have a problem with the... So now I can just tip this over and answer Mark's question of how we're going to get this stuff out of here. I can just do this. See the water and crud that's coming up. There's actually more stuff in there. But this whole carburetor is going to have to be cleaned, redone. Maybe even a rebuild, we'll see. All right, what are we doing?
These.
Yeah. We can leave this regulator on here, but we're going to have to disconnect the wires. So the regulator has 3 wires going to it. You'll notice that 2 of the wires are white wires that go together into this sheathing right here and disappear down below. These go to the alternator, okay, or the coil that's underneath the flywheel that the magnets go by and actually make electricity. So the reason why these are both the same color, white, is because what actually comes out of here is AC voltage. Okay?
Yeah.
And they go to the 2 outside connections on the voltage regulator.
And that one black one.
It's actually blue. See, it's a blue wire
Yeah.
inside of black electrical tape. This wire here, okay, this wire, you know, I call this a voltage regulator. This is actually a rectifier. This changes the AC into DC. All right, this wire here is the positive wire. This is where the positive voltage comes out of the rectifier. Where's the negative? Well, the negative is actually these 2 bolts right here bolt this down to the housing. This makes the ground. So that's the ground for the circuit. Oh, quiet. My phone won't shut up.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of nest.
A lot of crud in there, huh? So what Mark's getting all excited about is all of that disgusting stuff down inside there that he's gonna get to clean. Yum.
Yeah.